For months, I had been living in a cycle of endless begging, begging my wife for affection, for respect, for just a small piece of her time. Every day felt like I was walking on eggshells, waiting for her approval, craving her attention, but always falling short. No matter what I did, it was never enough. If I worked late, she said I didn't care about her. If I came home early, she complained I wasn't ambitious enough. I tried cooking for her, surprising her with small gifts, taking her out, but she brushed everything aside like it meant nothing. I reached a point where I no longer recognized myself. I wasn't the confident man I used to be. I was drained, exhausted, and desperate. Every argument ended with me apologizing even when I wasn't wrong, just to keep the peace. I thought that was love, sacrificing myself so she could be happy. But in truth, I had become her shadow, existing only to serve her moods. This morning, something inside me snapped. She asked me to iron her clothes before work. Normally, I would jump up and do it immediately, hoping she would at least smile. But this time, I looked at her and simply said nothing. I sat down, drank my tea, and scrolled through my phone. For the first time in years, I ignored her request. She noticed instantly. "Did you hear me?" she asked sharply. I nodded but didn't move. Her eyes widened in surprise. She wasn't used to this version of me, the man who didn't rush to please her. She left the shirt crumpled on the bed and stormed off to the bathroom, slamming the door. I just sipped my tea in silence. Later, she asked me to run an errand for her mother. Usually, I would have gone without hesitation, just to avoid any drama. But I told her calmly, "I'm busy today. You can handle it." The look on her face was priceless, part confusion, part anger, and part fear. It was the first time she realized I wasn't her servant. Throughout the day, she kept testing me with small requests. "Bring me water. Fix my charger. Call the plumber." And every time I shook my head or replied, "Not now." My refusal wasn't loud or disrespectful, it was quiet, controlled, and firm. That silence was more powerful than any argument I had ever made. By evening, the energy in the house had shifted. She paced around, clearly uncomfortable, throwing glances at me as though trying to figure out what had changed. Finally, she asked, "What's wrong with you today?" For once, I didn't beg or explain. I looked her straight in the eye and said, "I'm tired of being the only one who tries in this marriage." Her mouth opened as if to argue, but no words came out. She wasn't expecting me to stand my ground. She was used to me begging for her attention, her forgiveness, her love. But today, I gave her nothing. No explanations, no pleading, no desperate attempt to make her feel better. The silence between us grew heavy. She tried to break it by turning on the TV, by fiddling with her phone, by pretending she didn't care. But I could see the uneasiness in her body language. She wasn't used to being ignored. She wasn't used to me putting myself first. When dinner time came, she asked if I was going to cook. I told her I had already eaten outside. Her face fell. For years, I had made sure she always had a hot meal waiting, but tonight I didn't lift a finger. She ended up making something for herself, slamming pans around the kitchen, but I could sense the panic in her movements. That night, as we got into bed, she finally spoke in a softer voice. "You've been distant today. Are you upset with me?" I turned to her and said calmly, "I'm not upset. I'm just done begging. I'm done living like I'm the only one trying." She stared at me like she was seeing a stranger lying beside her. She tried to defend herself, saying she never asked me to beg, that I was overreacting. But I reminded her of every time she dismissed my efforts, every time she took my kindness for granted, every time she made me feel small. The truth was written on her face. She knew I wasn't lying. For once, she didn't have the upper hand. I didn't raise my voice, I didn't cry, I didn't plead. I simply stated the truth and let the silence hang. And in that silence, she finally realized she might lose me if things didn't change. As she turned away, pretending to sleep, I lay awake feeling strangely free. For the first time in years, I wasn't weighed down by the need to win her approval. I had taken back a piece of myself, and it felt powerful. I don't know what tomorrow will bring. Maybe she will change, maybe she won't. But one thing is certain, I will never go back to begging. Today she noticed, and tomorrow she will understand. The next morning, I left early without saying much. I didn't take her calls during the day, and when I came home, I calmly handed her an envelope. Inside were papers, my decision to separate. Her hands trembled as she read, her eyes filling with shock and fear. She tried to protest, to beg me to talk, but this time I was the silent one. The man who once begged for her love was gone forever. I packed my things slowly while she watched, unable to stop me. "You'll regret this," she whispered, but I only smiled and said, "No, I've already regretted staying too long." As I walked out, I felt lighter than I had in years. For the first time, I wasn't begging, I was free.